Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome to another edition of Track Walk in MX Simulator, where today we are playing a track called Sorento Hills, created by Checkerz and DJ99X, with little help from a lot of esteemed members of the MX Simulator community. The reason that it was a huge collaborative effort, or at least a decent collaborative effort in some sort, was that this is one of the first tracks ever released in MX Simulator by a legendary track creator, Chris Riesenberg, aka Checkerz. And personally speaking, it's one of my favorite tracks when I'm just not, feeling like I have any good flow going in this game anymore to get down and play, because this track has insanely good flow. In my opinion, it's probably the best track that's like worked into the hills that I've ever seen. It feels like one of the most like naturally flowing tracks in the game, and it's just a really good fun track to play because not only does it have those good flowing somewhat motocross type elements, but it also has a lot of big jumps so you can do some cool whips and stuff on as well, and some tight sections so you can work on your ruts, but then just some general sections as well. Like overall, I just feel like it's a really good track that doesn't really ever get appreciated that much because I don't know for what reason, but I like it a lot, and I wanted to play it for a track walk for a long time, and this week in particular we're going to do a lot of track walks because I've just been super busy with work these past couple weeks, and with the MXGP3 video game coming out and trying to get those videos more processed and working with commenting back on people in the community about videos like that. I just haven't had a whole ton of time to create videos, so I fell behind on the track walk series, fell behind on pretty much video creation in general. Jeremy's gone MIA again, so just kind of trying to get back on track here. I'm sorry that the schedule's kind of burned out a little bit these past couple weeks, but we'll get it back to where it was with daily video content creation at some point. But the first step that you have to take is another track walk video, get the ball rolling a little bit. And this track is super cool. Now, I will link you guys actually directly to the MediaFire download link for this track, just because the original release was on a website called Pure MXS, which kind of doesn't really exist anymore. The guy that used to own that website, his name was Wakestyle. He is no longer in the MX Simulator community, hasn't been for some time, but to my knowledge kept Pure alive for a little bit, and now it's just completely gone. So Checkerz way later in the post for this track commented a MediaFire link, and that is the link that I will give you guys for this track to download, so that you don't get lost and say like, WTF, why can't I download the track, whatever. It's gonna be there, so just click on the MediaFire link. Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. I spent maybe 10-15 minutes before this just making sure that I could still play MX Simulator, because it's been at least a week and a half since I even opened the game. That's just literally how busy I've been with trying to get some stuff sorted. So besides that, I'm super rusty at the game, and I've been trying to make it a point to tell you guys that I will do an updated outdoor setup, and I'm also just going to start trying to do better gameplay videos rather than just me playing, ranting, and crashing a lot. So a lot more just in general better riding as well, which so far hasn't gone to plan in this video, but hopefully it does in other videos. But yeah, let's break it down and talk about this track a little bit. As I mentioned, it seems to be one of the best tracks I've ever ridden that really beautifully connects hills and different jumps together. It's got some really cool sections like this, I feel like, where it's like a turning tabletop that just feels like it goes on and on forever. And it's really not that big of a tabletop, but you feel like you're floating for so long because it's like down the hill, and he's got like these off-camber corners back into doubles. And one thing that I think makes this track work very well is the traction, which is, it's a very grippy traction. It hooks really hard, so be careful when riding a 450 or anything with somewhat decent power in this game, like the newer 250Fs, because I would imagine you can loop out fairly easy on this track. I'm usually pretty good with throttle control in general, so it's not too big of a problem for me, but sometimes I see people all the time asking like, why is it I step on the gas and loop out? This is definitely one of those tracks that it'll bite you pretty quick, but I think the traction worked well for this because if you had a slippery traction with a track that had so many off cambers and weird hills and corners and stuff like that, it wouldn't go together very well. So a traction that grips very well, like this one, I think works out for the best. You may go a little bit long on some of the jumps, but besides that, I think it feels pretty good. I like sections that he has included, like this one, even though I'm making it look like trash right now, where there's 3 different options you can choose through this rhythm section. I'm gonna go outside, but you can triple or quad in right there. You could go to the left out of that corner, which I'll show you in a second. But I mean, this track just has a lot of cool different options, cool flowing sections. Like it's almost like a little choose your own adventure track within itself, because there's so many different lines to choose from that you kind of don't really realize until you hit them, that like, hey, this is actually a pretty good line to hit, and kind of fast as well. The thing about this track and most tracks around this time is that riding a 450 or anything of this size is really too much for this track, because it was produced when the game was a little bit slower, the bikes were slower, and 450s I don't even believe were in the game yet. So you'll run into that issue if you try using a newer 450, which I am on this track, where you'll feel like you're going really fast on a really tight track, and that's just the case. I mean, it's a tight track. Even back then, it was considered kind of a tight track, but now with the faster bikes, upgraded dynos and stuff that have been included in the game, now the track feels really small. Like, I don't ever remember being able to go 3-4 up that hill, even on a 450 back in like 2013 when I'd play this track a lot. So just a couple things to kind of hint on. Like I said, a lot of different line choices. After a while, you kind of settle into certain lines that you like. Sometimes, like here, only one line is really even worthwhile taking. But like, there's different splits down this hill, which I'm gonna crash in, of course. But like, you could fly down this hill and then swing way wide and use this as like a berm almost, and it totally lets you do it. So it's really just, like I said, it's such a unique track. It's got a really unique feel to it. I've liked it for a really long time. I actually did a kind of featured video on one of my good friends, Mikey, riding this track when I used to manage the Vermoto Gamers YouTube channel. So I will link that in the description if you want to check that video out. I think it's kind of cool. It's a little unique aspect about the game back then and whatnot. So just a good, fun track. I know some people have kind of not liked Checkerz as of late for, various reasons, but one thing you can't fault him for is the dude knows how to build tracks, and goddamn has he poured a lot of content into this game and just this community in general, motocross gaming community, and I think he deserves respect for that. Obviously, I'm a little bit more biased because he's a really good friend of mine, so I mean, I like the guy and I like what he's done for this game, but this track is killer, and it shows how, like, this is one of the tracks he started with, and it's still good. Like, he's always just produced amazingly great content, and he has his own little section in the tracks part of the MX Simulator forum that is just a thread dedicated to all the tracks that he's made, which is like, I think it's approaching 150 different tracks that he's made for this game now, which is incredible when you think about it. So, kudos to him. Like I said, just a great track overall that I've liked for a long time. I don't really know what like landscape this is though. Honestly, what it looks like, it almost looks like some sort of like tropical, like you're in a little bit of like a secluded rainforest hillside track thing. Like, I can't really guess where it would be other than like in the hills of Hawaii or something like that. But then the dirt's too like not dark for it to not be in Hawaii, so it'd have to be something in like, I don't know, the Bahamas or something where it's a little bit lighter dirt. I don't know, like, it's really cool. And I mean, like I said, so this track's super fun, super interesting, and honestly, graphics wise, like the terrain and everything, it looks really nice. This is from 2011. Like, this is an old ass track by modern day MX Simulator standards. So it's just, I always love going back and playing tracks like these, and I say it a lot in some of my track walks, but when you go back and see where some of these tracks came from, or what they were capable of even way back in the day when this game first started, it's incredible to me because, you know, we talk so much today with MXGP3 out and MX's ATV Supercross Encore and all these other new moto games being developed and what have you, that games have been taking big step forward, and MX Simulator is starting to kind of go on the back burner a little bit, which I agree with in some sense, but you also kind of have to understand how long Sim's been around for. Like, there's still comments I see get posted on these videos every now and then to say, oh my gosh, this game looks like absolute garbage, like whatever. But I mean, this game is 10 years old now, and it still kicks ass to play. It's still super fun to play because of physics, obviously, but graphics-wise, if you have a good graphics card and you can run a decent computer setup and play some of the high-end tracks, like some of these tracks look pretty freaking incredible, at least in my opinion. Obviously, there's not necessarily quality terrain deformation. You can have terrain deformation on these tracks, but it's not like the best thing out there or anything along those lines. But then, you know, to have tracks where the ruts and the braking bumps actually mean something to the physics of the bike is awesome. So I always love coming back and playing Sim. It's why we do a lot of our videos in the game, not just because I or Jeremy are good at the game, but you know, we like playing the game. We're enthusiasts of the game, and we like to show off tracks in the game, which is why I do the Track Walk series, specifically to show off tracks in the game that you may not know about, you may have never heard of, and to kind of urge you to play it, to branch out of your comfort zone and try something different other than the you know, the Race Factory Supercross or motocross tracks, or now the GP motocross tracks, or the stock tracks that come with the game, or just the random popular tracks that are out nowadays, which are obviously good, and I'm sure that I'll do track walks in those tracks as well, but some of the older tracks are kick-ass and definitely deserve to be played like this one. So yeah, Sorento Hills by Checkerz and DJ, and I think GeoPanda helped, and like I said, just a lot of kind of OG cool guys that pretty much only one of them remains, and that's Checkerz, that helped out with developing and building this track. And great fun, great track, good times. And I hope you guys enjoy playing this track, because as I said, you can go down in the description right now, download this track, and have your own little bit of funsies on it. But anyway, that's going to be another edition of Track Walk. Look forward to more track walks and just in general more videos coming out this week. We're going to try to catch up. We're a couple weeks behind on a lot of different content, so stick around, stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in future videos on the channel. If you like this one, please like, comment, and subscribe. And hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Later.